My name is Jordana. I've been in recovery since December 27th of 2012. I'm here to share just a little bit about my story and my journey with addiction and recovery and kind of plant seeds of hope. My intention is that somebody out there is listening and that, maybe my story can help impact and make a difference in their life. A little bit of my backstory: I was a professional figure skater and I was in Ukraine. And I remember my nervousness, my anxiety of getting prepared to go train for this event. Mind you, I'm representing the United States Figure Skating Association. And I was scheduled to 6 o'clock a.m. for training, and I made it at like 8 o'clock a.m. because I decided to go out that night because a Russian figure skater invited me out to go party with some of the Russian team. And I don't remember what happened except for being screamed at in the morning, being yelled at, and I came to. I had, a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure placed upon me growing up, and I always had this level of confusion of what am I without a pair of skates? When you put me in front of the U.S. team and they say, hey, Miss Blesa, you've been suspended from the team due to substances in your system. Those substances were provided by some of my leaders, by some of my coaches to perform better and enhance. I'm 16 years old. I have no idea what's going on. And I get suspended from something that I worked so hard for. And so from the ages of 18 years old to 28 years old, I was a runaway in and out of rehab centers, and alcohol and drugs was never a part of my story or my upbringing. It just became a way of life. I just remember the feeling when I drank. When I drank, I felt like I could do anything in the world. And then once I was coming down from alcohol, I realized that the problem is I didn't like who I was in my own skin. Alcoholism helped me feel fearless. I would travel from state to state. I had multiple jobs, and God knows what they were. One of them, I was a carny, and I remember going to the festivals, Oregon State Fair, Idaho State Fair, Montana State Fair, and I had a great time. Just 3 weeks, 4 weeks in a row, like living under my kiosk, if you will, selling products and items. One thing that went hand in hand with that kind of environment was alcohol. At the state fairs, there's alcohol, there's rodeos, there's cowboys all around, and I just remember having a blast and drinking day in and day out, and it was a way of life. I just know as I was looking to fit in, I was looking to be a part of, and I hung out with a bunch of people who were just, come chill, come hang out, come smoke weed, come drink, like you're a part of. And when I was involved in that, I felt like I was valued. I felt like I was a part of a family because I came from a broken family system. And I came from a system where I had to perform. And if I didn't perform well, I didn't receive praise. So I kind of got lost in my identity. I remember always having like a will to win, a will to succeed, but those consequences far exceeded my abilities. Drinking day in and day out really affected my health, my mental health. I realized that alcohol was an escape. I realized that I was running away since I was 18 years old and not identifying any trauma. I was just running from here to there, looking for love in all the different places in the world, also looking for validation, acceptance everywhere, and just trying to find my core self. I just remember I couldn't keep hiding anymore. I couldn't keep escaping anymore, and I was tired, physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually. I just graduated with my MBA. I had lost a few friends along the way that wanted nothing to do with me because I was the girl that had no self-control or know when a boundary was crossed. And it just began a spiral of labels. And so I started wearing those labels. I started becoming those labels because I didn't know any other different way. As a result of some of that, I didn't have value or self-worth. I was finding my value in outside things, and I introverted, and I went in and I decided that today would be a good day to kill myself. And by the grace of God, I think I sent an email out to my dad before I attempted. And mind you, I hadn't spoken to my dad for a good 10, 12 years. I was running away. All I remember is the cops were at my apartment complex. Nobody was there, and they were banging, and they did a wellness check on me, and that's a result because my dad called them because of my email. And then the next come-to moment, because I was under the influence of drugs and alcohol, my dad shows up at my door. The beautiful part about my dad is he didn't shame me, he didn't stigmatize me. He just said, let's go, come home, and we'll help. I'm 28 years old. I thought I had things going on. Like I said, MBA, bachelor's, money in my pocket, apartment, a guy I wanted to marry. So when all my scorecards read 0 and when everyone abandoned me and neglected me, my father showed up. My father today is part of the reason why I'm sober. My father today is one of my biggest inspirations. My mother as well. I have a wonderful relationship with them today and I look up to them. All the things that happened to me in my past, all the trauma that I experienced have nothing to do with why I like to drink. Like, there was no understanding of trauma, there was no understanding of what substance abuse is, there was no education surrounding the genetic and the mental disposition of what happens with alcohol. I didn't know that I had a physical allergy to alcohol and that once I start, I can't stop. Once I was introduced to that in rehab in 2012, I started to realize, and I had a bunch of teachers in rehab as well that shared with me, like, you are not your disease. You are not what you did in your past. You are who you are today by the grace of God, and you have a story to tell. And all of these experiences that you've been through are going to plant seeds and help another human being. Somehow, some way that all clicked in my mind. I embraced that and I ran with that. And I remember my first year of sobriety, I really struggled with mental health, getting out of isolation, because alcohol and drugs led me to a place of complete isolation. I couldn't leave my house towards the end. I had lost everybody. My social skills were off, and I lost the ability to live life, self-care, just even go to the grocery store, just learn how to drive behind a wheel. My anxiety rose so high that it paralyzed me from actually living life on life's terms. I have a lot of amazing stories and experiences of what sobriety has done for me. Most amazing experience was the fact that I learned how to have a schedule. I woke up at a certain time. When I said I was going to do something, I did it, and I went to any lengths. And I remember feeling really good about myself for completing and accomplishing some of those things. Second accomplishment was I built a host of friends surrounding me. I learned how to show up for others as best I could. And I learned how to be there for others and for the community. Another victory was when I got on a plane and I was able to travel across the nation all by myself. That was huge. I never in a million years believed that I could hop on a plane, travel across the country, and come back in one piece. I remember just putting one foot in front of the other, applying prayer, and just suiting up and showing up. And as a result of doing this work, I developed a relationship with a higher power. I knew that no matter what, I was never going to be alone. And I also realized that I could do anything that I put my mind to and I put my higher power to, who I choose to call God. And as a result of doing that for 12 years of being abstinent from drugs and alcohol, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. And I can easily switch it off to complain and bicker and this sucks and that sucks. But when I really take a step back and I reflect, I'm becoming the woman that I've always aspired and wanted to be. And today, my goal is just to pay it forward. And I think by speaking up about your story, by being honest and transparent of what you've been through, hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, can identify with what you've been through. And I think through transparency, depth, and weight, people are listening. And I think our society as a whole is looking for a message of hope, community, understanding, fellowship. If you've been through trauma, if you've been through abuse, if you've been through domestic violence like myself and you've overcame it, you can recover. But it takes discipline, it takes action, and it takes making a decision.